So welcome to this podcast. This is, I think, the 5th podcast that we've done, and we've got Max and Karen from Everywoman joining us today. And I really want to talk to Everywoman and cover a number of subjects, really women in corporate business, women entrepreneurs, and young women and their new programme called Modern Muse. So thanks, Karen and Max, for joining us.
You're welcome.
For this morning. How long have we known each other now?
Do you know what? I was thinking about that on the train coming down. I think we met in 2004. It was when we did our conference in Bristol and you were the keynote speaker.
That was the first time anyone had ever asked me to speak.
I know.
You got me completely up on my speaking career.
And you were brilliant.
Time?
Yeah, don't you remember?
Yeah, I remember it, but I didn't know that was your first time.
I think it was 2004, don't you?
I think it might have been
I
either
think
the
it
end
might
of
be earlier.
it might have been the end of 2003. But I remember being incredibly nervous and but really pleased that you'd actually trusted me to have that
house
job.
down, didn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. Still bringing the house down 8 years on.
So the people that listen to our podcasts are entrepreneurs, are business people. They're generally the people that watch what I do, and they want to know what Everywoman's all about. Would you mind perhaps just giving me a bit of a brief rundown?
We have been going for 12 years now, nearly.
Yeah.
And we are a community of inspired and inspiring women of about 40,000 members.
Wow.
And Max and I started the business in 1999. Max was living in New York at the time and I was living in London. We've known each other for nearly 30 years. And we had been trying to start our own venture together.
Yeah.
And was finding it incredibly challenging because back then, you know, actually there was a real mismatch in the sort of mainstream service provision that was provided to people starting businesses. It was very skewed to how men start their businesses. So we just saw a gap in the market to serve the female enterprise community, and that's how Everyone was born.
Yeah, there weren't networks and communities in the same way that there are today, and it was I think it was what we needed as women who were starting businesses, and it just wasn't there. So we went, let's create it.
That's interesting. So do women start businesses differently from the way that men start businesses?
I think their motivations are different.
Yeah.
They do, and because their motivations are different, they start them differently.
Yeah.
So the big areas of difference are, first of all, they start them more home-based and undercapitalised.
Yeah.
Men tend to be more organised in structuring the finance of a business quicker.
Yeah.
And secondly, the motivations for women starting a business are driven more by a need for flexibility for the business to fit around the other issues or the other areas of their life, a passion for something.
Absolutely. And I think that one of the definition of what a successful business is for women can often be different. If having your own enterprise enables you to achieve all those other things that you wanted to, that flexibility, that being able, follow a passion, etc., then that is successful. But that is not the traditional definition of success in business, which tended to be high growth, fast growth, high turnover.
It's almost as if the financial reward comes as a byproduct of what they're doing,
Yeah.
whereas the motivation from men from the get-go is actually I've identified an opportunity and I can see how I can make money out of this, which is probably backs into why they then get the business financially structured quicker.
Not to say that women are, women are starting businesses.
Yeah,
they want successful businesses. This isn't about everyone who's out there playing for one moment, but that there is more of that organic growth in women-led enterprises.
Well, yeah. How much do women contribute to the economy, women-owned companies? Do you know, roughly?
70 billion.
It's around about 65, 70 billion.
Yeah, which
it's a lot.
It's a huge amount.
And of course, the issue is that only 25% of enterprises started by women, and there's a huge opportunity for more women to start enterprise. And if they did, and we could double that, it's another 70 billion at a time when we really, really need it.
And there's huge opportunity for that, isn't there? Because women
Massive.
don't start businesses in this country as much as they do in the States, do they, at the moment?
Or many other countries.
Right.
It's about 50-50 in the States, and it's not that here, but I think we're going to see more of it. I mean, in the current economic climate as well, with more redundancies and more a number of opportunities closing down, people are not going to just slink away and sit at home waiting for things to pick up.
Yeah.
They're going to generate their own income.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we've seen in the past 12 years that has had the most amazing effect on enterprise and for women especially is technology.
Yeah.
You know, 12 years ago when we started the business and we started it online as everywoman.com, you forget, you know, it was a dial-up modem. How could we get online? Couldn't we get online?
Yeah.
Did it crash? Didn't it crash?
Yeah.
All of our content was
Yeah.
scanned in from hard copy information. And, you know, today there really is the ability to work from anywhere at any time
Yeah.
and to stay connected and engaged with the business. And that is a model that works really well for women. I mean, you know yourself, Liz.
Yeah.
You know, your mother, you've got young kids. It's so easy to be able to put that into your day and then come
Yeah.
back and do some work at 9 o'clock at night
Yeah.
when they're asleep.
Yeah.
And that works for women.
Do you know what I find interesting is this definition of success that we were talking about earlier, and saying that, you know, a woman-owned business quite often has a different definition of success, and the money is it sometimes can be a consequence of running a business that meets all of their needs and their employees' needs. What strikes me is that in this incredibly materialistic culture that we live in, is that we measure success incorrectly anyway. And I've always struggled with accountants where, you know, I run my business, we employ a lot of people, we're great employers, we have a lot of fun doing what we do, we are profitable, but the whole emphasis on profit being the only thing that matters and the only thing that business success is measured by seems such a narrow-minded perception. I mean, as long as you're not losing money.
Yeah, I mean, don't get us wrong, profit is important because you've
Yeah.
got to be profitable to stay in business. It's what you do with the profit, I think, is what you're saying, and how much profit. You know, the furore last week about the utilities and the gas industries making obscene amounts of profit, while people are struggling to pay for very high cost utility bills is not right.
No.
And I don't know how they justify that. And I think what you're talking about is why we're seeing such an increase in social enterprise, because people want to go out, they want to do stuff, they want to make money, they want to be able to pay themselves and pay their staff, but at the end of the day they want to do something well by doing something good that's of benefit to the community. Or
But I think that's permeating everything now, isn't it? I mean, we as consumers make often consumer decisions based on the ethics of a company or the things that are important to them.
Brand
Yeah,
values.
absolutely,
Yeah.
the brand values, and that is something relatively new, but it's very, very important.
And I think that corporate UK PLC is becoming aware of that as people make their choices about what organisations they're going to work for and give their, you know, heart and soul to. That there is a lot of digging into what that organisation does. You know, are they genuine about it, what they're doing with their profits and what their values are.
And the big thing now, you know, so many companies are saying, look, what is it that we need to be doing to attract and retain more women in our organisation? Because, you know, the more diverse a company is, the more successful it will be, to the bottom line. So they know that. And they're losing their female talent, so many of them. So they're saying, what is it that we need to do? And they have to look very closely at what it is that they're offering and why it is that they're not attracting the right female talent.
What do you think is the most important thing to a talented woman going into a corporate? Have you done any research on what are their high priorities in terms of
It's
taking
interesting
the job?
because we've spent the last sort of 6 months really immersed in speaking to corporate women because of the Modern Muse project.
Yeah.
Or all women, lots of women actually, but more time we've been spending with corporates, and so it's given us a real insight into that.
Yeah.
The first thing is the value of the organ. Does what this organisation do fit with my own personal values, dreams and ambitions? Is it where I see myself being?
Yeah.
And the second thing is flexibility. And again, you know, technology's been great at enabling that, but organisations are not embracing it enough. There is still a culture about being physically present, and that's more difficult for women than who still do the lion's share of caring in the home and the domestic responsibilities. They need that flexibility. They don't need to be measured on how physically present they are in an organisation.
I think the other thing is, though, women that we're speaking to are looking to see what organisations are also investing in the development of their staff generally, and then specifically knowing that there is work to be done on attracting and retaining more women. What are they specifically doing to enable more women to build really great careers within that organisation?
So what are their maternity leave policies? How comfortable do women feel when they come back from maternity and paternity leave, or long-term sick? All of that sort of stuff is important.
Yeah. Why should companies care? What are why, if they've got a talent pool, why should they care about trying to attract more women into their organisations when perhaps they've got a lot of chaps applying for the same jobs?
Complete business sense, as Max I think said. If they don't change the decision-making positions within their organisation to be able to reflect and understand the thinking around the diverse customer base they have, they're not going to be able to serve their customers. And the world is a diverse place. And all of the people that all of these big businesses serve are diverse, and they need to be able to understand that. They need to get into the hearts and minds of those people, and they won't do it without a diverse workforce. And it's at the decision-making. It's at the senior management.
It changes the decision-making process when everybody's not thinking the same way. And out of that, sometimes the decision-making may take a little longer because you've got a more diverse and rounded, decision-making process. But what comes out of there will be a sounder decision. And it has been proven that those organisations with a minimum of 3 women on their board are more profitable.
Do you know, it's interesting because the reason I've always liked working with you, you at Everywoman, in terms of, doing the conferences and the encouragement and just everything that you do, is because it isn't this very heavily feminist attitude in terms of burn your bras and women over men and men are all crap and women are brilliant. It's a very level-headed business argument that goes along with...
As is feminism. I think it's really funny the way that people are so frightened of the word feminism, and it always relates back. It's got that whole stigma that it relates back to the 70s and the burn your bras, because basically all feminism means is equality. And I think one of our passions, especially with the Modern Muse project, is to start to make feminism a bit more sexy and a bit more for the new...
A bit less lesbian-like.
Well, not that it's... No, we need all women on board.
It needs to be cool. At the end of the day, you know what? My husband's a feminist.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's about equality.
Yeah, but you're right. The word's been wrongly used for so long that all you think about is people who, camp outside and wear comfortable shoes and, like you say, burn their bra.
Yeah, exactly. But they did good for us. Even though they didn't look particularly good.
Absolutely.
But our passion is about getting the younger generation to get on board the issue, because they're the ones that are going to miss out. That's why the whole reason why we started the Modern Muse project is to get them on board and to open their eyes to see what's happening.
But the argument is they're not the ones who are going to miss out. We're the ones as future employers that are going to miss out if we don't do something about it, aren't we? In terms of developing that talent pool, making, helping them be more aspirational.
Yeah, both sides. But I'll tell you where we're going to miss out, though, Liz, is globally. We talk about, you're talking about women in corporations and organisations. I mean, the ones that we do have are not British. And that's sad. And we are in a global playing field now. And if we don't start nurturing and giving our girls ambitions and ambitious thought process and confidence, they're going to be taken by girls from overseas. So, it's serious.